I never thought I'd be telling this story, but sometimes life takes such unexpected, hurtful turns that you don't even recognize your own world. My husband and I had been together for nearly 15 years. We'd built our lives, grown together, shared dreams, and raised our kids. I believed he was everything to me, and I to him. Then, it all changed. A few months ago, he started acting distant. There was this coldness I couldn't explain. At first, I brushed it off, thinking he was just stressed from work. But then he began hinting at needs and fulfillment in ways he never had before. Words like satisfaction slipped into our conversations. It was like he was questioning something that was supposed to be unbreakable in our relationship. And I didn't understand. It all escalated one evening after dinner. I could feel his unease. Finally, he looked me in the eyes and said, "I think we need to talk about bringing someone else into our marriage." I froze, hearing the words come out of his mouth, not comprehending what he meant. My mind raced. I asked, "Do you mean a second wife?" He nodded, eyes avoiding mine. The shock hit me like a storm. I had so many questions. Was he no longer happy with me? What had I done wrong? But when I asked him why he felt he needed someone else, he told me plainly, "It's about pleasure, my needs, and I feel like maybe we're missing something." His words sliced into me. The idea of being inadequate or unsatisfying in his eyes felt like a betrayal. Then came the twist, the part that turned my confusion into sheer disbelief. He had someone in mind. He didn't say who at first, just said that he had been talking to someone he trusted, someone who understood him, someone close to us. I didn't want to know, but my heart was racing with questions. He finally said, "It's Lisa." My best friend, Lisa. Lisa and I had known each other for years. She was practically family. We'd been through so much together, and I'd confided in her about my marriage struggles, never suspecting she would even entertain the thought of being with my husband. And yet, here we were. I was livid, betrayed not just by my husband, but by the woman I thought of as a sister. He said they hadn't crossed any physical boundaries, but that he and Lisa had connected on an emotional level. Hearing that didn't make it any easier. It almost made it worse. Emotional betrayal feels so personal, so deliberate. I felt like I was living in a nightmare, with the walls of my world crumbling around me. My husband seemed unfazed, as though he expected I would come around to this idea. But I was torn, sick with the thought of sharing my husband's affection. He tried to rationalize it, saying this would strengthen our relationship, that it was part of his culture, his right. But it only weakened everything I thought we had built. The weeks that followed were like a slow burn of agony. Lisa avoided me at first, but eventually she came over to talk. She seemed nervous, awkward. She said she had feelings for my husband, that it just happened. She claimed she'd tried to ignore them, but the connection was undeniable. She was sorry, but she wasn't willing to walk away. I felt betrayed, and yet, strangely, I couldn't show it. I felt numb. So I began to plot. I couldn't just let my life be destroyed like this. I started paying closer attention, tracking everything. I noticed they had a routine, ways they communicated that were subtle but unmistakable once I knew what to look for. Then, one day, I found the perfect opportunity to expose them. I set up a small recording device in a place I knew they often talked when I wasn't home. Sure enough, what I heard confirmed my suspicions. The way they talked about me, about their plans, it made my blood boil. I confronted my husband that night, putting the recording on full volume for him to hear. His face turned pale. Lisa had no idea I knew, but my husband did, and it was over. I told him that if he wanted her, he could have her, because I was leaving. The divorce was swift, painful, but necessary. In the end, he didn't end up with Lisa. I heard from mutual friends that she eventually moved away, embarrassed and ostracized by everyone who knew what happened. I picked myself up, rebuilt my life brick by brick, and every day I thank myself for not staying, for realizing my worth when others tried to devalue me. Starting over was hard. The nights were the worst, lying awake and wondering how everything had gone so wrong. I thought I'd spend my life with this man, that he would be the father of our kids, my partner in everything. But all those dreams had been shattered. And the woman who betrayed me? My best friend, the person who should have been by my side, not behind my back. But as the months passed, I began to rediscover pieces of myself. I took up new hobbies, focused on my kids, and gradually found joy in things I had forgotten about. I reconnected with friends, made new ones, and started working on things that I had always wanted to do. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't just a wife or a mother. I was me. And I began to realize just how much I had given up in that marriage. One day, out of the blue, I got a message from Lisa. She had written an apology, saying she deeply regretted everything. She explained that her own life had unraveled since our confrontation. She was ostracized by our mutual friends, and her reputation took a hit. I felt a flicker of satisfaction, but I knew better than to respond. She'd made her choices, and now she had to live with them. As for my ex-husband, he tried reaching out too. He called, texted, tried to apologize, and even suggested that we could try again. He told me that losing me was the biggest mistake of his life, that he'd been blinded by some fantasy that wasn't real. But by then, my heart had hardened. I couldn't imagine going back to a man who had thrown our life away so easily, for reasons I would never understand. So, I made the decision to block him completely, to cut ties and allow myself to heal fully. And the best part? With every step I took away from that painful past, I felt lighter, freer. I realized that while betrayal had brought me to my knees, it had also made me stronger than ever. Eventually, I met someone new, someone who appreciated me for who I am and didn't try to change me or seek out others to fill anything. He respects me and my worth, and he knows the meaning of loyalty. It's a slow process, but I'm learning to trust again, to believe that good things and genuine love are still possible. Looking back, I feel grateful for the strength that I found in myself, for the lessons learned, and for the chance to build a life on my terms. Betrayal had tried to break me, but instead, it became the catalyst for the life I truly deserved. And for that, I will always be thankful. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from Lust Diary. See you in the next video.